Hey everybody, George with the Art of Water, and I want to talk to you today about water changes and plant melt. Um, One of the things that I've noticed here and talked about a little bit is the amount of water changes that you do every week, and 50% water changes are not unusual for me to do on all of my tanks. But the biggest thing that I've found that I don't have plants melting or losing plants. You have the normal things that happen to plants just because of the environment and so forth, but the melting of plants and all of that are really non-existent if you really do those water changes like I've told you about. It's so important to do 50% water changes. I can't stress it enough. I can't tell you how important it is and how much it will save you the stress and anxiety of your tank losing its plants or melting down. And the other thing that I think is important too is how often you do them. I do 50% water changes in my nano tanks at least once a week or twice a week, excuse me, and in my larger tanks about once a week. So if you can do that and you've got the time to do it, you really should, because it's so important. It's so amazing how beautiful your tank can look, how crystal clear the water is, how amazingly healthy the fish are, and how the habitat alone just thrives in here. You just don't see plants melting and that sort of thing. When you do see that, I've noticed that if I go a week or so, I notice that the plants do really have some compromise that goes on that really would not happen, I think, if you were to do a 50% water change twice a week in a nano tank. Now, these here are sparkling Gouramis. I've had these forever, and the tank is just so low maintenance. It takes me about 15 minutes twice a week to do a 50% water change in here, and these guys are absolutely thriving. They love their environment. There's nothing I can say about this tank that has had any problems whatsoever in 9 months. It's just absolutely thriving. There you go. You heard the sparkling Gouramis doing their little croaking sound. You don't hear that very often, so catching that on video is really special. And that's typically a male with another male, which I have a male, two males and one female in here, which I didn't realize I had until they grew into a larger size. But the males are very competitive about space. They're not overly assertive about it. They're not overly aggressive, but they do let the other male know who's in charge of the space. And with that, they do make a little bit of a sound to ward off the other male, just to let them know that this is their territory and so forth. And I just want to say that it's so important to do these water changes and to make sure that your fish are in the absolutely best environment that they can possibly be in, and you just won't have any problems. It will save you so much anxiety and so much frustration just to take 15 minutes a week, twice a week, to do 50% water change in these small 5 to 10 gallon tanks. Anything above that, once a week, and you don't even have to do 50% on the larger tanks, maybe a quarter of the water, and they will thrive. But these guys are absolutely fantastic. There's actually 3 of them in here. We have a female that's hiding right now because you have the 2 males competing for territory, and the female is sort of in this little area in the center here that's got sort of a cave type situation going on, and she kind of hangs out in there. But when feeding time is out, she comes right out, no problem. Anyway, this is George with the Art of Water. Just talking to you today about the importance of water changes, and we'll talk soon.